welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're going to enroll in Adversity University. So we're about to go to class.
Here at Just These Guys, you know.
Yeah. We're going to learn how to take obstacles and turn them into opportunities. It's all there for the taking.
Here today, we got Pastor Mike on the mic.
We got Dr. Parker in the house.
It's hard for me to film and talk. I'm not multi-talented.
You know something that I noticed this week that I've noticed before, but I was never really willing to own it. Not to start out on a negative note, but...
you just did.
So. I know. Yeah, I may as well just go with it. Because today's... It's all about attitude. But I make way too much noise. I make weird noises on this podcast. I'm always going, ooh, and I was sitting there annoying myself as I was listening to it.
This is a jerk.
This is like, hey, dang, I wonder how many people are just cringing, waiting for this dude to make more noise.
Well, that just shows how comfortable you are behind the microphone.
Apparently.
You forget that there's an audience out there.
A little too comfortable. But anyway, attitude today.
Well, and it's interesting where you took it.
Oh, yeah? I already took it somewhere?
You did. Because this all was born out of a quote I sent you.
Okay, yeah.
Because you said Thursday you want the show prep to start.
Right.
So I sent you a quote.
Think about what we're thinking about.
That must have been your other podcast. Is that the topic on the other show?
No, on Thursdays we start thinking about what we're thinking about.
Oh, that's okay. That's your mental.
Yes, that's how I mentally frame it.
Next topic. And I sent you.
It was a good one, by the way.
Okay.
It's all yours.
What was it?
It's all yours.
What was it?
If you don't have struggles without challenges, it was either challenges or struggles or something. The whole idea is that you're just simply existing.
This is what people do to you on your Sunday sermon. That is a good sermon. What was it about? With a.
I loved it when you said, I didn't say that. Holy Spirit was speaking to you, buddy.
No, I saw an opportunity to figure. This is what happens to you every Sunday. Somebody comes up and says, "Hey, great sermon!"
Yeah.
And then you ask them,
right?
What was it? And they're like, and then they got the gist.
Yeah.
The quote was, "Without challenges in our life, we simply exist."
That's what I just said.
The audience can chime in if that's exactly what he just said.
Well, maybe not verbatim.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, no, it's good though. And
I was thinking in terms of, next. Okay, what am I going to do with my life next? Never settle, never get comfortable, never rest. What am I going to do next? What's the next horizon? Bring me that horizon. The next mountain peak. The next challenge. And you took it to problems.
Well, making problems a good thing.
And that was my hesitation this morning when you said the opening. I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
So yeah, it's interesting. Show prep, one quote Thursday, and we both walk in here with similar but different ideas.
Which is great, I think. Jesus said, in this world, you will have problems. He said, you will have trouble. So, but take heart. He says, I've overcome it.
And that's the interesting thing about that is people will throw that in your face.
Mm-hmm.
If you say something to them and then you say, but, oh my God, you just undid everything you said before the but. The only thing that matters is what comes after the but. You're looking at me like I'm insane.
I don't know that I've ever had anybody do that.
Hey, that's
now
a real
the screaming part, yes.
That's
then,
a real good job there. But, and then, but undoes everything you just said before. But
therefore, let's just turn that big old but into a therefore.
They don't do that with that scripture.
Well, true.
They focus on the first part, not the second part.
Sure.
The but undoes what came before it. So in this world there will be trouble, but shut up then.
Sure.
The next part.
Most important.
Yes.
He's got it handled.
Take heart, for I have overcome the world.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the important part. So if you're going to cancel something out, keep canceling out what came before the but. Take heart, I've overcome this world. So there is no reason to worry and fear and quake and get upset. The world's overcome.
Mm-hmm. And the reality is that 90% of the things that we allow ourselves to get stuck in when it comes to worry and anxiousness and all that, when we get to be just a little beyond it, we can look back. We didn't even need to worry about that.
Sure.
We didn't even need to let that consume us. And but, and we do though.
We do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why we're here. That's why we have something to talk about. However, I like all the words that you can use instead of but. However, the reality is there's always a new horizon.
Anyways.
Yeah. Anywho, there's always a new horizon to go after.
And that's what I was thinking about. And I guess it's two sides of the same coin. People have problems and they focus on the problems and they complain about the problems. Well, if there's a problem, then there's an opportunity to work out a solution.
Mm-hmm.
And that, moving from the problem to the solution, that is a challenge.
It is a challenge, and it's ultimately what makes you stronger. It's ultimately what gets you further down the road.
I had a challenge a couple weeks ago with the plinth blocks and my power saw not being able to cut the plinth blocks. And we talked, and a couple ideas came up about purchasing a power saw from somebody else, wrangling a power saw. And I challenged myself to solve this problem.
Mm-hmm.
And that gave me an opportunity to meet my neighbor again. Because I know he has woodworking tools, and went over and spent some quality time with my neighbor.
Yeah, cool. And he's got vices and he's got everything that you need to hold it in place. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
What a great example of obstacle turned into opportunity.
Yes.
Well beyond the woodworking part of it. The connecting with the neighbor.
That's right.
Wow. Oh, my goodness.
So, Carl, thank you very much.
Yes.
I don't think Carl will listen to the show.
Probably not.
2 years from now when he finally does. Hey, Carl, that thing you did for me the other day with the plinth blocks and the table saw, thank you so much.
You going to put a plinth block picture up on the video for all those people going, what's he saying? Is that a TH on the end of that?
Plinth block. I will put a photo up. For those of you on the podcast, a plinth block is basically a decorative stop or bottom piece to door trim. Rather than trim just running all the way around the door, you put a decorative block on the floor at the bottom of the door trim to spice things up a little bit.
See, people come here thinking they're not going to have an opportunity to learn much. There you go. There's your bonus for the day.
Pro tip.
You've been trying to figure out how to use a plinth block. So you also sent the word grit, which I really like. And I think I actually want to do a whole series titled Grit. Just grit. That's a significant thing to have in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's perseverance.
Yeah.
That's truly attitude. That is a can't lose attitude.
Sure.
And so what were you like? What direction are you going to go with that? Are we on the same page?
I don't remember sending grit. I'm just going with it here.
No respectable Southerner uses instant grits. Grit. Well, you sent it to me.
I sent it to you.
Yeah.
I don't think
the only
so.
reason I thought of it. But grit is something that I find when I'm dealing with people who have either come into the office or done something that they're just, going through a period of life where they're struggling with something. Man, the people with the grit that's the real difference maker. Because to me, that is truly the no lose attitude. It's like no matter what, this is I'm going to take that internal fortitude, and I'm just gonna. It's almost like being cocky. To me, grit. Sometimes you got to be a little cocky, blanketed in humility.
And for the listening audience out there, he is correct. I did send the word grit. And there was a multiple texts I sent you about show ideas.
Got it. Those weren't.
And one of them was grit.
To me, grit and adversity, they go hand in hand.
Adversity.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we back on adversity?
Because they're hand in hand. They're like a hand in glove.
This started
you better
out
have
as,
you some grit if you're going to face some real adversity. Well, challenges and adversity are the same thing.
Grit is determination. Grit is a cool word for determination, that I will continue to move forward, at whatever pace. Nothing will stop me. I will keep striving. I will keep trying. I will keep getting back up. I will keep stepping up to the line. I have grit. Nothing's going to knock me down.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening kind of psychologically is I have a goal out there, and I will continue to put effort into moving towards that goal no matter what happens.
It's like the Navy SEAL.
Mm-hmm.
That Navy SEAL is not going to survive Hell Week with literally days, 5 or 6 days with no sleep.
Sure.
Without grit. You got to have that extra dose. Grit is like the butter on the top of the grits that is just, that's where the real flavor is. Got to have grit. And some people just don't believe that they have the grit, that they have the ability to overcome. And it's all there. It's all there for the taking, because it's attitude. It's attitude. It's the attitude of gratitude, for one thing, starting with thanks. I've been talking about that a lot on Sundays. But so you're going to need some grit to have this approach. This is another scripture that it's one of my favorites, but it's one of the most challenging to not only really consider for yourself, but to when I say this to other people or I share this with them, they don't think, how in the world could that be possible? And it's James 1:2-8. I'm just going to read this real quick, and you can give me your thoughts. It says, this is the Message translation, so Eugene Peterson's translation. He says, consider it a sheer gift, friends, when tests and challenges come at you from all sides. He says, you know that under pressure, your faith life is forced into the open and shows its true colors. So don't try to get out of anything prematurely. Let it do its work so you become mature and well-developed, not deficient in any way. If you don't know what you're doing, pray to the Father. He loves to help. You'll get his help and won't be condescended to when you ask for it. Ask boldly, believingly, without a second thought, and with much grit. No, he doesn't say that, but without a second thought. People who worry their prayers are like wind-whipped waves. Don't think you're going to get anything from the master that way. Adrift at sea, keeping all your options open. Consider it a sheer gift.
And say it again. What was that, James?
James 1, 2 through 8. Talk about boom.
Yeah. And it's got it all in there.
I'm going to sneeze. And now I'm not. It went away. My grit caused the sneeze to go away.
Hum for a second.
Does that work?
Makes you sneeze.
Oh, it makes you sneeze. I've never heard that before.
Okay.
So consider it a sheer gift when you face all kinds of trials. Whoa. Talk about a complete 180 on how we would tackle every day. That's a bring it on.
Yeah.
That's a grit.
Every day.
Okay, let's just imagine it for a minute. You're driving along. You're listening to this. We're talking in your ear right now. And that problem that you've been avoiding and praying that it would go away and consumed by, what if it was a sheer gift? Because something really good is going to come out of this on the other side of it.
And with that attitude, it will.
Mm-hmm. That's the only difference right there.
When was the last time you were at the tag office?
Oh. Yeah.
Gut punch.
You had to go there. Well,
I went there yesterday.
yeah, about a year ago. So October is our month.
I do everything online. For years now, I've done everything online. I've not been to the tag office in a number of years. I had to go yesterday.
How was it?
Because I think because James won here, I wasn't actually thinking about James.
Sure.
But I accepted for me to get the license plates I want, I have to go to the tag office rather than complaining about having to go to the tag office, which, I don't want to go. Oh, this sucks. It's always so long on the line. Oh, it's miserable.
Right.
I mean, I'm going to the tag office, and I went up there and there's a line 15 deep. That's okay. And instead of getting on my phone like everybody else, 400 people in there, 400 heads bowed in prayer to the almighty T-Mobile. I was just looking around, checking it out, listening, looking around. And as I'm looking around, listening, I hear the lady behind me say to the lady behind her about how she hopes the line moves quickly because she has to get to work this afternoon. And when we got up to where it was my turn to go, and we've been standing there for almost an hour.
Yeah.
And they said, next person in line. I stepped aside and let the lady go and made her day. And in making her day, I made my day.
Absolutely.
And felt good when I got to go to line. So a miserable experience turned into a great experience. And he wasn't done, because when I walked out, there was a 300-year-old woman trying to put her walker in the back of the car. And the short story is I helped her get in her car, then get her walker in the car, and almost drove her home. But yeah, looking around in the midst of what is normally a miserable experience that we hate having to do and we will complain about all day long, I had a good experience.
Yep. You turned it into a gift experience. Like you gifted this woman with some consideration and letting her go ahead of you. You were in the right place to be a part of a blessing.
And see, I'm selfish. It wasn't even about her.
Well,
I got an opportunity to do something nice for somebody.
Okay, that's fine.
And
if that's the attitude that it takes to do something nice, whatever.
Well, and that's the deal is when we do when we do a nice thing for somebody else, this is the dopamine hits our brain. They get hey, that was a surprise. Thank you so much for letting me go online. And I'm feeling good for the next 2 hours because I got to do something nice for somebody else. Cost me an entire 30 seconds additional line time when I was not selfish. I don't care if she's got to go to work. She should have come and stood in this line earlier, you know. The challenge each day when we wake up, if we don't have challenges, we think of them as problems. We think of them as adversity. We complain about what we have to do and the things that pop up. But if we can shift and look at those as challenges, then they add spice to our life. They add zest to our day.
Boom. That's called being salt. The spice. That's bringing God flavor. That's bringing beauty. So being light and salt. You brought some light instead of just simply existing.
Sure.
You brought light into that. And if I'm betting, man, I'm going to bet you're probably the only one that did that all day long. All day long.
Probably.
And so.
But the idea that we complain about all these things all day long, when those things don't occur, we're just existing.
There you go.
And then we complain about being bored.
Sure.
We get up, we eat our breakfast, we go to work, we come home, we feed our fish. Life is boring. Life is boring. So problems are actually opportunities to provide solutions. Problems present us with challenges, and that can be rewarding to figure out things, to learn things, to resolve things, to handle things. The doorknob breaks off as you're walking out of the door. Hey, all right, I get to buy a couple of new tools, go down to Lowe's, look for the perfect doorknob. Maybe I'll get a keyless one this time. Yeah. So a problem becomes a challenge. A problem becomes an opportunity. And you don't have to wait on problems to find challenges in life. Build them in. How many of you complain about your weight? Here's a challenge. Start eating healthier. Start walking. Start getting in better shape. Here's a challenge. You're bored every night. You sit and scroll on your Facebook for 3 hours. Here's a challenge. Get up and build a puzzle. Get up and paint a wall. Do something. Learn a new skill. Learn a language. Create challenges for yourself so that you're not simply existing. And that's what people look on Facebook and they're jealous of what everybody else is doing. They're not doing the things that they're jealous of.
We're jealous of everybody's highlights.
Mm-hmm. That's
all you see on it's the highlight reel. It's kind of like the Pittsburgh Steelers highlight reels all the time. So
don't watch the game, watch the highlight reel.
Right. So the difference between just the thinking about it and the doing it, the thinking about it and actually putting it into action is one little 4-letter word.
Uh-oh.
Grit.
Maybe that's the title of the show today.
Grit. I've been trying to come up with an acronym for grit.
Get your grit on.
I can do it. Got to get your grit on. So just go do it. This is all up to you.
Grit.
Every single one of us.
Get really intense today.
Go get the grit. I like it. All of this stuff is only a good thing if you put it into action.
Got to apply.
Got to apply. Information without application is a what?
Abomination.
Oh, dang. Thank you, Doc.
Just these guys, Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
And we will catch you guys next week.
Have an awesome week.